Hello, everyone. We're just waiting for everyone to join here. Serena, nice to see you. Tim, welcome. How is it now? Sorry, folks, we're just testing if we've got feedback, but I think we are okay now. How is it now? Sorry, folks, we're just testing if we've got feedback, but I think we are okay now. Can you hear me, Tim? Can anyone hear me? Sorry, everyone. We do have Tim here is to usually guide us as a steady hand through here. So we're just going to figure this out. Just give us about 30 more seconds and then we should be okay.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, sir. We can.
Okay, nice. Thanks, Ian.
Tony, you're good? Yeah, you're good. Okay.
Yeah, all working good here.
Okay, apologies about that, everyone. We were all in the same office and just trying to get our connections working together and didn't want to be hitting everyone with feedback and delays. So I think we are finally there. I'd like to welcome everyone. You can see a few familiar faces in here. So Pokey, if that's how you say that name. Swede, see you in here. Serena, thanks for being around. I saw Adam. Pragmatic Coders is here. Jump on to speak here. Everyone, welcome. So yeah, this is the Commonwealth Dev Team AMA. We're going to be going through discussions around the open beta that's coming in a couple of days. So Tony will be taking you through that and introducing everyone to how that's going to run and what the expectations are. And shortly after that, we will introduce you to the dev team that's been with us. So from here, I'll hand it over to Tony. He'll give you a breakdown of everything to expect in the next couple of days.
Hi, thanks, Ian. It's good to be back in Krakow, which is where most of our dev team are situated. Ian and I have spent many weeks here over the previous year, 14 months or so, working through the various concepts, designs, and development of the Commonwealth app with our partners here. So it's not only kind of great for us all to be here in the same room as we start the beta with the team, but we're also actually using it to introduce the kind of wider dev team to the community, which is going to probably long overdue, I would gather, and to give you a bit of an insight into the journey that we've gotten us to this point in time. We are going to talk a little bit after the Meet the Dev section about the beta and kind of what's next. I think it's worth kind of excuse me, reflecting on the journey that it has taken to get us here, and the amount of work and the amount of input and the amount of thought that's gone into getting us to where we are. It's by no means a finished process for us, as you know. We're at the very beginning, but it's going to be a long journey. We have very ambitious plans for lots of plans for innovation over the coming months and years. So obviously we worked very, very hard and had many sleepless nights to get us to this point. This journey started back, I think it's 2 years ago, almost exactly now, isn't it, in November? And then really development would have kicked off kind of October, November of last year, after a very rigorous tender process and search that we had undertaken to find the right partner for the project. And now we're at the moment in time where we're about to kind of open the doors and to kind of share our baby with you, if you like. There's many of us feeling like expectant parents, I can tell you. We're treating this week as the kind of beginning, if you like, of kind of going live, and whenever that turns out to be. For us, this is very much not just a beta test where we're inviting feedback from the public, but it's, for many of you guys, you feel very invested in this, and it's kind of great to get your feedback at this point and help shape things as we go forward. But in addition, we're also treating this, like, as I said, like a live launch. So there's quite a lot of stressing going on in the background here around things like checklists and infrastructure and content and testing and airdrops. As I'm sure you can imagine, it can be quite chaotic. So for us to have this kind of dry run at what it would be like to do or TGE, and to launch the platform into the wilds is a great test. So I think you're going to have fun today. I hope so. It's quite a different AMA than we've done before, but I think as Ian can probably attest, we've been a long time getting here, and I for one, I'm very excited at this point to open the doors and let you guys, get your hands on things. So how are you feeling at this point, Ian, of the journey, given we're back in Krakow where it all began?
Actually, very, very excited. Especially we've done a lot of times we've been similar to a war zone where we sat side by side, and we have had some elevated voices and around what we should be doing and how we should be doing it, and taking the grand idea that we initially had and segmenting it into a piece that we could proceed with and get it built by, right, like the date that we wanted to build it by was to have it functional by the start of the next bull market. And I think we're getting very, very close. So in terms of how that's happened and how that's rolled out, I think it's been a very great success. There's definitely been some ups and downs, and as every new business knows, that you get a lot of just issues and problems that come together and you have to face and solve, and problem solving, that's a lot of the fun of it. So I think that we're in a very, very good spot. I'm really looking forward to the next couple of days, putting this out and finally showing the world of what we have been building.
No, exactly. I was thinking about this morning. It's kind of like when you look from the outside, kind of software looks like it's all very scientific and rigorous and methodical, and it's checklists and specs, and it's all those things. But it's also very, very chaotic. And with every startup, there are choices and pivots that have to be made along the way as you respond to, changing market conditions or wherever environment you happen to be in. So very much you guys are going to get to see a little bit of what it's like to behind the curtain, I guess. It's a little bit akin to kind of going to if you like sausages, you go to the sausage factory and see how they're made. Many people don't like sausages after they've been to the factory, so you'll get to hear the good, the bad, the ugly, I guess, of how we got here. And I'm very proud of what we built. I'm sure many of the team are. And we've had a great relationship with the devs. So I'm kind of delighted you're going to get to meet them and hear from them firsthand today. So I think at this point, I'll hand back to Ian and he'll introduce you to the devs. And I'll come back at the end and talk through how the beta in the next couple of weeks will run. I think we'll be stopping to see if there's any questions from the audience after the developer section, and we'll do the same at the end when we've announced what's happening with the beta test. It's a longer session today than we would normally do. There's quite a few folks to get on stage, so we may not have time for all the questions that arise today. Anything we don't get to answer today, we will certainly follow up with in Telegram and Twitter afterwards. Likewise, I'd ask everyone, where possible, to try and keep your questions today focused on either the dev section, meet the devs, or the actual beta. I know there's thriving conversations going on right now in the community, and I know I missed a lot of the last AMA. We were at the Ethereum Dev Connect event in Istanbul, so I know there were questions that weren't answered there. So please keep the questions coming. We will get to them in the next few days and weeks for you. And potentially over the next coming weeks and months, there'll also be more opportunities to speak to us firsthand. So I think at this point, Ian, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Tony. So we began the process of putting out tenders for a development team that really fit what we were looking for, and we wanted product people and not just software developers, and that people we could really trust on the design and the development, the getting it tested and auditing, and just basically having all of their processes in a place that we could really trust. And with all the tenders that we did put out, the pragmatic coders who we have worked with, and they're based here locally in Poland, just exceeded everyone by orders of magnitude in just the presentation and how they approached to get the position, and how to get us to come and work with them. So that was a pretty easy decision, and it's a decision that we've been extremely happy with. It's been a pretty damn good ride the whole way through. We're happy with our decision. We've designed some epic stuff. I cannot wait to show you. So with that in mind, I'll begin to introduce you. So we've got 4 people from Pragmatic here. We've got Jakob, who has been doing the product manager role. He's been taking the lead from the Pragmatic Coders side. He has been a welcome addition. We'll have Cassia, who is a UI and UX extraordinaire, Emil from our front end, and Dominic from our blockchain team. For now, I'll introduce you to Jakob. He's our product manager. Jakob, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me well?
We can hear you loud and clear. Can everyone else hear them? I hope so. Any thumbs up? Come on, Serena. Where's the thumbs? We got one? Yeah, nice, Connor. Thank you. Great to hear. So, yeah, Jakob, welcome. Just to everyone, this is Jakob. He's the product manager for Pragmatic Coders, looks after operations also for them. And he's been with us since the very beginning, when we were in the war room in Poland here, and we had about 100 to 200 post-it notes literally posted all along a big glass window, and how we were going to design this piece and from start to finish. And we've got bigger grand visions for it, and getting this version 1 out and just cutting down through all the mess was one of the biggest tasks that we could do, and it was a very, very nice and smooth process. Apologies. So yeah, Jakob, what were your early project impressions? Like, how did you feel when you first heard what we came to offer?
Hi all. Happy to be here. Happy to be the part of Meet the Devs AMA. So getting down to what were my impressions? Truth be told, we are building something great, and for first time, myself and the team, we saw the specs of Commonwealth, of what needs to be developed, prepared, delivered to all of you. Where thoughts were like, okay, it's pretty complex. What shall we do? How we should approach it? And the war room that Julian mentioned was a great idea for the very beginning, because we had chance to meet and we had the chance just to sit down and discuss. As you mentioned, it's 100, 200 post-it notes, and we drilled down what needs to be built. Of course, in general, but we got the impression what are the requirements and what is the goal of Commonwealth. And there were a couple of things that struck me there, like great approach. For example, thinking about DAO and the approach to this, how to transfer from preparing the state-of-the-art application to give it to all of us as a Commonwealth. Actually, it was a great feeling, to go through all the concepts and actually to work them through along the way through this year.
Was there at any time that you looked at it and just were a little bit lost and didn't know where to go, or how we were going to do it, or what it was? Yeah, how did you feel from that point?
Actually, when you are building something new, and I think Commonwealth in many ways is something new, there are many of such moments, literally many, and we are finding them all the time. As you mentioned, we tried to be on the top what's going on in the market, use the best tools, use the best approaches to what we want to deliver. And our main goal is to make Commonwealth available to everybody. And we try to, meet the needs of people that are very used to Web3. And at the same time, we are trying to invite and get on board people who are pretty new to this technology, and that's kind of challenging. And that there are some aspects that are we are spending some time to figure out what would be the best solution. But it's all the fun, to prepare something new for the market and to be able to meet needs literally of maybe even everybody.
Yeah, it's been pretty exciting building something that hasn't been done before, and obviously it comes with its issues as well. Like, what did you think that was the most challenging aspect that you've had since you started with us?
I would name two. Like, the first one was to, at the very beginning, understand the concept, because there are many bits and pieces connected to it, like naming tokenomics, naming like how we will, for example, onboard people for the Commonwealth, and so on and so forth. And the second thing is to try to change the approach that we have for the Web3 applications to provide state-of-the-art user experience to it. So I think these are the most challenging things.
What would you be most proud of with building it? The user flows, some of the blockchain stuff that we've built, or the processes of getting things done. What are you most proud of?
I may surprise you, but personally, I am most proud of partnership that we created together, because we can build basically everything, and like from my perspective, uniqueness in terms of Commonwealth is a couple of things. The first thing is that it includes, in terms of people that are thinking about it and I'm managing it, like top entrepreneurs in terms of understanding how the business runs. The second thing is focus on the UX experience, user experience. Yeah, UX experience. That's the same thing. User experience to make the best product as possible. And to be honest with you, it's not so common in current product development board. And the third thing is the understanding of the value of face-to-face meetings. In current world, like, everything is remote, and I very cherish the moments that we can meet in Krakow and have some war rooms, workshops, discussions, testing, whatever, because it helps us to build great products.
I'm glad that you mentioned that around the coming together as a team, and I think that's it. We've done very, very well here, and I can speak with Tony here too. I think you've been an absolute invaluable piece of the puzzle here to get things done, and I don't think we could be here to this day if you weren't on board guiding the ship from your end at Pragmatic. So we're super happy with where this is at the moment, and yeah, thanks for everything.
Thank you very much.
How about the beta? Yeah, what's your feelings on the beta? Like, how are you feeling? You're nervous? Are you excited? Are you fearful? What's going on?
I would answer yes. Yeah, like many emotions, but the biggest one is excitement. I can't wait to get feedback from actual users. Like get into some deep dives in terms of each functionality, each item that we prepared, and then follow up on this and deliver the very first version for the actual launch.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting, and I think even from our perspective, and I'm going to talk for Tony here too, is just because of how much granular detail that goes into this, and the way things look, and where the words are presented, and what happens when a user clicks on a button, and where it takes them to, and is that process, like, is it clean, is it efficient? So understanding that how much time and effort has gone into that, and speaking about Tony here as well, who's just absolutely led this and killed it for everyone here, and I think it's been an incredible learning experience, and also at the same time I'm truly excited to deliver this, because I feel like we've designed something that's truly special. Okay, well, thanks for that, Jakub. I'll keep it moving, and let's get one of your UX UI extraordinaires in here. This is Cassia. Are you there?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm at the same room with Jakub, so I believe that you can hear me well.
Nice, that I did know. So just a little bit of an introduction for everyone here. Cassie has also been here since day one. She was in the war room from the very word go. She's been leading the UI UX team with this, and daily to every 2 meetings to 3 meetings a week, just to guide them on that. And she comes from a fairly eclectic background. She's a physicist, and got some experience there. So it's been a welcome experience having her on board. So what were your early project impressions? How did you feel?
Yeah, sure. So at the very beginning, the project presented itself as challenging. The whole domain connected with investing, Web3, and so on. It sounds not easy to visualize for the end user. It was a challenge for the whole UX team, because I was cooperating with Carolina. She's not right now with us, but I believe that some of the community members will meet her soon. And it was because we needed to translate the huge amount of post-its, as you both mentioned, into a real platform. And based on that, just create some sketches, flows, and so on. So I remember how stressful I was when we had the second or third meeting, when we need to present you guys the first sketches of the platform. Because that was the time when we need to say, hey, that was how we understand those post-its, and your platform will be looking like that and working like that. But despite the initial complexity, step by step, I think the whole team did something really impressive, and I'm grateful that I'm the part of that.
We're grateful you're here too. You've been absolute champion for this, and another person. I don't think we could be here if it wasn't for you. And it's an understatement to say how much that you've input into this and how it looks to this day. And I know that we've gone through probably about 1,000 iterations of the product as it's evolved, and market conditions also force your hands into doing certain things. So you've been here the whole time. So tell us a little bit about yourself behind the scenes. Like, what else do you do? What's your other achievements?
Connected with Commonwealth, or that's only my one achievement. No.
No.
Yeah.
Not just with Commonwealth. Come on, let's hear your story.
Okay. I was working as a freelancer very early, but rather connected with designing simple websites. But my role wasn't called UX designer, obviously, that time. Then, as you mentioned before, spoilers, I finished technical physics and as well as School of Graphic Design. So I know that might sound strange, but physics is about observing the world. Right now, I'm observing how people interact with the products I'm building and so on. And also, Tony mentioned something about scientific project. So I think that I quite suit to that project as well.
Yeah, it's been nice having you. That was a shock for us when we found out you were a physicist, and there's been lots of good conversations from that. What are you most proud of with the project, and what we've done, and from what you've provided and you've built into it as well?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, so I'm quite proud of our approach to make Commonwealth, possible to use for people without blockchain and Web3 experience. That was our goal, and that was also our challenge. I'm proud what we did so far. It's always amazing when you are designing something, you have those sketches and so on, and then you see, wow, this is working. And of course, that was possible thanks to our brilliant dev team. And as well, Jakub mentioned about that before, partnership. I think that there is no pragmatic coders, there is no Commonwealth team. We are together and we are one team, and that's awesome.
Thank you. I feel like we've gone past just a general partnership. Like you've been on, we've kind of merged, and I think even with a couple of the new guys that have come on board, there's just a love of the project. You can hear from the questions that are being asked and how in depth that they get so very quickly as well. just like to point out to everyone here too that there was a couple of us that were banging our heads against a whiteboard in this office for a couple of days trying to flesh out the staking model and some of the calculations that were required to do that. And Kasia jumped on and within an evening came back with a couple of solutions for us, and they got implemented and have helped us a long way. So when you do finally see the staking and how it works, then you'll understand that also came from part of the UI UX team here, which was one of their value adds too that I can speak to, that it's just not just been about the building of the product, but they've actually just fallen in love with the product and asked some really generally hard questions that we haven't thought of and have caught us out in a couple of times. So we couldn't be more thankful for that. Do you have anything else to add to this, Kasia?
Yeah, maybe one more thing, because as you previously mentioned, we are starting some kind of user test. It's near to beta to be launched, and probably later Tony will provide you, some details and so on. But I want to invite you, all the members of Commonwealth community, to be active, to provide us feedback as often as possible. We will be very grateful for that.
We'll be very, very grateful. Okay, nice. I'll keep it going here. So we've got Emil. Emil is actually a relatively newcomer to the project. He's one of the front-end developers, but you wouldn't know it by the way that he picked it up and how quickly he's done it. And from a person that's come on and got onboarded fairly recently, within the last 6 to 8 months, the questions that he asked about the project were just so impressive that he understood that, and he was coming up with problems and also solutions at the same time. So that it's really helped in these business meeting decisions when we've had to build out some of the front end products here. So, how about yourself, Emil? Where do you come from? What's your background? What's your story? Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, hello everyone. So I am front-end developer from about 8 years, and I have 2 years experience in blockchain projects. Before I mostly work in .NET technologies and JavaScript as well.
Nice. So, what have you found that to be the biggest challenges? Actually, let's take it a step back. What did you feel about the project when you first came on board and you were doing the onboarding and getting everything thrown at you and having to ask all the questions and deep diving into everything? How did you feel? What was your initial thoughts?
Okay, so for me, I see that app. I saw that app looks very good. But to be honest, I don't understand fully the business process in this app. That was a bit complicated for me. So as a dev, I needed to, even though I had some experience in the blockchain projects, I had to learn a lot, because every Web3 project is different.
Nice. And what about the front end problems from your point, building it out? Where have you found the biggest challenges, and what has been your most success? What do you mean the most happy in the product you've delivered?
Okay, so I think one of the biggest challenge is wallet integration, because on the market we have a lot of providers like MetaMask, Coinbase, etc., Trust Wallet, and to make it work all together, it's quite challenging, because these are quite new libraries, and there is still some bugs, and they are updating that very often. We have to care about updates on our application, and then it's session of testing. It's quite long, because we need to care about devices, every devices, and some browsers. So it's quite challenging. And next challenging things is that our UI is very detailed, and we really take care of the small details, and this make complicated in terms of developers' working hours. I think it's quite long, but the end result is in my opinion, very good, and I am very proud what we achieved here.
Great to hear. So has there been a time where you just wanted to get the computer and throw it out the window? You just couldn't get something going? Tell us a war story. I think we all love war stories here.
Yeah, I think that the moment when we have to prepare to the demos, in like very short term is like quite, you know, challenging. Yeah, then we are getting angry, but work hard and we achieve our goals.
Yeah, today, like, yeah, just for everyone, today we even had a bit of a small hiccup where one of the RPC providers that facilitates most of the transactions on the Commonwealth went down for maintenance about a couple of minutes just before we were going to host the AMA. So we've been running around in the office going, okay, what's our plan B? What's our plan B? So there's always a story to tell from here. Thanks for that, Emil. Glad to have you. Like, you've been a massive value add as well, and I also speak for Tony here too on that. So Dominic is from the blockchain dev side of things. Dom, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? And obviously you're building blockchain code, so you fell in love with it in some way, shape, or form. So how did that all happen?
Actually, I do not see Dominic here. I don't know if he got disconnected from the Twitter Spaces.
No, he should be back. Yeah, hello, Dominic. You
there? He's back. Yeah, I see him. He's back. Dominic, can you hear us?
His connection's gone walkabout. Give him a couple more seconds.
Actually, he wrote to me that he can hear us. So if you can repeat the question, Ian, I think that should do the trick.
Oh, great! I was just saying, Dominic. Just wanted to know, like, you're one of our blockchain devs, and another welcome, one of the newer people to the team as well. And just wanted to know, like, obviously you're doing Solidity code and blockchain development. So how did you fall in love with the crypto space?
I see that.
Yeah, you're there. Yeah. Yes, we can. Sorry about that.
Yeah, of course. So like, you know, writing the Solidity code is like pretty nice. I like the mechanics of the platform. From the other hand, it's pretty cool for developers to, like, you know, to develop such let's say robust backend, you know, the business logic and so on. And on the other hand, when you go to the UI and you can see just, like, you know, one button to invest, and knowing all the stuff is going around it and giving it to the users in a pretty simple way, it's a really great feeling, right? So basically, yeah.
No, I agree with you there. I think that's what's going to be hopefully one of our major surprises, is just how easy it is to do these investments. It's just so crazy, and I won't ruin it for everyone. But as Dominic said, there's a lot amount of attention has gone into how the user feels in this, and, you know, trying to take out the technical jargon of crypto and losing a lot of that language, and just making it super simple for not only just the, you know, regular crypto degen, but the average retail investor, and even down to being able to talk to your grandma about it and bring her on board for the ride too. That it should be just as simple as a click of a button. So I think that we've done a pretty fantastic job on that. How did you feel about the project when you first started, Dominic? Like, were you fearful? Like, what were your initial thoughts?
Yeah, so I was pretty optimistic at the start of the project, because I think that it's like, you know, pretty your vision for that it's pretty clear, and I believe it's achievable. So that's why it was really nice to work with the project. Like, you know, the discovering new technologies, for example, working with ZK Sync blockchain, or the link with the, like, you know, bridging stuff and so on is pretty amazing, honestly. And yeah, I feel a bit challenged during the project. So I believe there's, on the other hand, a lot of complex calculations and logic to make that system work. And the other hand, as I said before, I can see that it's pretty clear to operate with. So it's really nice.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's been a pleasure having you on as well. From my point of view, some of the questions that you asked early on, I just knew that you had taken the time to really understand what we were trying to do, and yeah, that to me just spoke droves about how the relationship was going to form. And even in the last several months, we've just been commenting internally of how effective and fluid the team's been working together, and the communication standards have been just so much higher. And Jakob's a big part of that as well. But having a team that actually believes in what you're doing speaks droves to that. So again, thanks for being here. So what have you found that's been your most challenging aspect so far?
Yeah, so from my point of view, the most challenging part is make the fluent bridging between the blockchains. I believe this topic in general, it's still like pretty weak point of many projects, right? And there can be a lot of bad things happening around the bridging itself. So yeah, definitely this is the most challenging part of of the project. The bridging stuff from Ethereum to zk Sync. Also, the zk Sync itself is pretty new blockchain. The guys are doing a great job in developing this blockchain, and it feels when you discover some new lands or something like that, and that's actually amazing.
Great stuff. Okay, so I think that's for now. That's everyone from our dev team. Just thanks everyone for sticking around and giving your answers there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it back to Tony, and he's going to give us a brief breakdown on how the beta testing is going to be done, and the user guides and everything that you need to know for the upcoming beta event. So I'll pass it over right now.
Thanks, Ian. Maybe just see if there's any questions from the audience for the dev team before we move into the second part, shall we? Is there anything anyone would like to know, or anything you'd like to ask the team or Ian or myself about the journey to date and where we're at? Or do you want to keep all your questions till the end?
If we've got a show of hands there, if anyone wants to come up, we've got a couple of minutes to handle a couple of questions. If not, we will move on.
Okay, so yeah, so thanks very much to Ian and the Pragmatic Coders team there. I mean, I think as Ian said, we wouldn't really be here today or in the state of readiness we are without the engagement from the team. This thing is huge. This thing is very new. This thing is very innovative. We're trying to marry the best of breed of Web 2 and Web 3 to have a really seamless experience for our users and investors. It's very innovative. We're trying to solve many, many problems, many of which we didn't expect to encounter along the way, to be quite frank. And to be able to get to the point we are where you're able to come along and a casual retail investor is potentially able to invest into a groundbreaking project in 3 or 4 clicks of a mouse is really a stunning achievement. And we're only, even what you'll see in the beta, I think, is only scratching the surface of what we plan to be able to do. I think it's also worth talking about when we were at Dev Connect, myself and Baris, who's kind of another blockchain developer who works with us, we were speaking with a team about potentially integrating their software into managing some aspects of the treasury. And I thought what came out of it was very interesting for me, in that they've been developing almost exactly the same time we are, but for a single platform. It only has about 7 or 8 kind of user workflows, and they had a team of 9 people working on that for a year. Whereas we have 3 platforms, we have a team of 5 people, and we developed 24 to 30 user workflows. And not all of them are currently built or integrated, but just to give you a sense of that scale and what we've achieved in that time frame. And a lot of that has to be said, and it's down to the quality of the team we've worked with. So massive kudos to everyone involved. Now we're a very long way from fulfilling the full promise of what the platform and protocol will be able to do. But we are very, very proud of what we managed to do so far, and are excited about the various features and new funds that we're planning on bringing to you in the future. My problem at the moment is I'm too close to it. So all I see are the flaws, all I see are the unfinished parts, all I see are the parts that we've designed but not yet built or integrated. So I desperately need your feedback here. I need your perspective. So this is a work in progress. Um, platforms are a peculiar form of software that are living, breathing, evolving things because they just never finish. Once you've got users on that platform, you're supporting them and servicing them. But some of the earlier parts of our platform and protocol are extremely well tested, obviously. But then recent pieces that have just been integrated or some recent upgrades to the UI haven't been tested as fully or robustly. And obviously, we're going to be missing some integrations due to being on testnet, some not available yet on the network that we're targeting. And then, believe it or not, we don't have the Fiat integration working yet. Technically, we do, but we can't use it because we're still going through KYC with the Fiat provider, believe it or not. So so it's kind of pretty much all there. There are a couple of pieces that are not going to be available for testing in the beta, and we're going to talk to you about those in a couple of minutes. I want you to delight in using our software and running the Commonwealth protocol, but I need you to break it. I need you to bend it and abuse it in every foul manner you can think of during this test. Right, we've written a few notes in the user guide for beta testing that we're going to share with you after this call. And in that, I've given you some indication of, what you can do to go off the happy path, as it's called. Quite often when people develop, let alone test software, they only develop the piece that works, the piece that's meant to be done. They don't actually test all the things that could possibly go wrong or that the user could possibly do in a networked environment. That leaves a huge amount of potential attack vectors. So really, not just going through and testing out staking and investing and the forums and everything else that's available in the beta. I really would like you to spend some time, if you can, and if you can afford it, try to break things, interrupt transactions, click buttons you're not supposed to click, and tell us what you found. You go into every corner of the app and see what you can find and what you can break. It's an unusual kind of request, I admit, but this is kind of what we do when we're in testing. I spent a long time working in video games, as many of you know, and literally there were people employed to go into a particular part of a game, stand on a particular spot, and jump up and down 30 times, or press a particular control sequence on a gamepad a particular number of ways. That's the level of scrutiny that sometimes you need to go in to figure out where these edge cases are. So we're going to do everything we can to try and encourage you to get really hands-on in the app and actually try and break it. So there will be prizes. I'm not going to reveal them here necessarily, but there will be a number of prizes given out for the best engagement and the best quality feedback and contributions we get over the next week in particular. And Kasia mentioned that we've also invited a couple of folks to do a more hands-on UX interview where they will sit with a member of the UX team and actually go through, kind of guide the UX team through their experience of using the app in a very structured way. We've run some of these tests previously on Commonwealth internally with kind of friends and family. But I'd really like to put it in your hands as the end users and ultimately the inheritors of this platform to get some kind of much more guided hands-on feedback from you guys. So we will be offering some prizes based on the team's review of the feedback at the end. The future of the protocol is in your hands. So really, I hope you will take full advantage of the next few days and weeks and, have some fun with it. Although I'm not sure if having fun in the beta test is the right way to talk about it, but let's see what you come up with. Please try and give us most of your feedback in the forms that we're going to provide to you. Unstructured feedback on Twitter and Telegram is all well and good, but it's very hard to mine and kind of quantify. So I'd encourage as much of your feedback as possible to go through the various forms that we're going to ask you to submit issues in or give feedback in. And then lastly, we will report out in the coming weeks on the results of the beta test. And there's actually a possibility that we won't finish the beta test at the end of next week, but we'll actually let it run. We will leave the app open. And you'll get to see every probably 10 days, every 2 weeks, as we do more releases, you'll actually get to see some of the new features in UI come on board as we kind of progress over the next few months and head towards launch, full launch. We're still playing around with how much support we'll be able to give during that period, but watch this space, I would say. For the next week, though, we have the team on standby. They're going to be fixing bugs as they occur during the week. We're going to be treating it very much like it's a live service. That's going to run from Wednesday, probably around midday sometime. I'm not exactly sure. We're all in Eastern Europe at the moment. I'm not sure which time zone it will be, but we will announce it on the day. But fairly early on the Wednesday, we will open up the beta for everyone to participate, and it will be left open and supported for a full 7 days until midnight on Tuesday of next week. With that, without further ado, I guess we're going to send at the end of this AMA, we're going to send around a link. I'm not sure what the forums are. I'm sure it'll be in the community channels and possibly on Twitter. But you'll be able to get your hands on a Notion page which outlines kind of what's available to test, the instructions for doing the testing, as well as links to support that you need during the beta period. Once the app is live, you'll also have access to the support channels inside the app as well. And in addition, we've also provided a couple of handy tutorials at the end in case you run into any difficulties along the way. And we've also provided guides to how to add the various test assets into your wallet. A couple of guides around just using wallets generally. And then there's some things, suggestions as to what to test, what you'll be able to kind of test during the beta. Excuse me. I think lastly, the details of what's included in the beta and also excluded from the beta are also on that page. I don't think there's anything else at this point. I think what we'll do is we'll open the floor up to any questions or anything that we haven't covered off. But as I mentioned, after the AMA, we'll send around this form, and that form will have, the user beta guide. And in that will be links to 2 forms, one where you can submit any bugs you come across, and another one where you can actually provide more structured feedback at the end of your test. There's no obligation on any of you, of course, to provide any feedback, but we hope you will. We're also going to be using this to test out, analytics in the background, how we're capturing your feedback and acting on it, and generally the operational processes around kind of running the platform, as well as does the actual app do what it's supposed to do when it's in the hands of its end users. So at this point, I think I will just shut up and see if any of you would like to ask any questions of either the dev team or ourselves in relation to the beta.
Serena, you had your hand up there. Is it gone? You still okay? We have one person coming. I'll add you in right now. And Dafiri, I've added you. I hope I said your name correctly there. Is it Dafiri? It should be a speaker. Can you speak?
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, greetings to everyone, and we very much appreciate the effort that has been put in to get us to this point. I understand we are going to start testing the app going forward, but I was just curious to know if there will be any plans anywhere in the future for a Chrome extension, just as we have with MetaMask, if that's anywhere in the plans.
Hi. I don't think we've actually talked about anything like a Chrome extension or anything like that. Right now we've developed the app as the progressive web app. So those of you who don't know, it's effectively a website that acts as an app, so that it can be distributed through the app stores and is able to access various components of the phone's operating system if need be. We have some exciting plans for some of those features to be used later on. But currently, no, we're not planning a Chrome extension at all, just a web app and a mobile app.
Okay.
Which is not to say that somebody won't want to add it to the backlog or the roadmap, and have a community vote about whether we want to invest in those kind of directions or not. I think once we're out and launched with the version 1, I'm sure we'll be much more kind of open and receptive to potential future directions. So watch this space.
And thank you, Defiri. I'll add, did I get your name correct there? Was that the right way to say it?
That's pretty much the right way to say it.
Good to hear. Well, thank you so much for asking the question. Serena, over to you.
Thanks. Nice to meet the development team, such great hard workers. We appreciate all of your labors for this fantastic project. So I just wanted to draw your attention for the hosts that there are some questions in the chat, in the Telegram, and also in this comment section, just in case you all haven't seen that. But I'll be really quick because I do believe Mr. Tony did answer the question. I was curious to know if there were going to be some limitations with the beta and what we would not be able to test. So I do believe that he cleared that up. So the question that I do have now is just in regards to the investment. I do believe it was clarified, but I just want to ask again because I do believe someone else asked if one would be able to make investments in individualized projects within the funds. Thank you.
Hi, Serena. Yeah, I didn't probably mention many specifics of what's included in the build or what's not, but that's only because they're listed on the page we're going to send out to you guys now. Like most of the version 1 of the app is there, right? There's a let me see, there's a capped fund. We've all the course systems are there. You can invest, you can split and fractionalize your NFT, you can stake for discount. You cannot unstake for discounts, and that's not included in this build currently. There was a UI issue which prevented it going in, but it's actually finished. You won't be able to, there's no perpetual fund in the application at the moment, so it's just capped funds that's in there. We also don't have some of the features that we were quite excited about were finished a long time ago, because of the move to ZK Sync and the fact that we don't have some support for compatible services. So right now we don't have the non-custodial wallet. It's not included in the beta, but we hope that will be there for launch. We don't have invest with fiat. And while we have a Uniswap integration, obviously the wealth token hasn't been released. We haven't done our TGE. So you'll have fake tokens and you'll have fake gen NFTs to be able to test with inside the app. The forums and community piece is all there, and that's a nice foundation for the future. And then there's the progressive web app shell, if you like, the core components around support and analytics and the portfolio, etc. So I think more or less everything is there to give you a flavor, but there's obviously some of those kind of nice details which help with the broader audience that we just don't have in there right now, but we'll have in there for launch. To answer your question about the individual projects, that's not in scope currently. The model we have to differentiate ourselves from Launchpads is fund-based. There are talks in the future, far future I might add, about potentially being able to do funds in a slightly different way, but that has complications not just for the protocol, but also for some of the applications we're intending it for. So I would say watch this space in the future, but I think apart from the community fund, Commonwealth right now is geared and oriented towards investing into funds and a funds-based approach.
Thank you so much. That clears things up.
Great. I think that just about covers everyone. Is there anyone else? I think we've got maybe 1 more minute left. If not, I think we can call it. No, okay. I think that's everything. So thank you everyone for joining us on the Dev AMA. If there's any further questions or we have missed some or you'd like to add some more, just add them into the official channel and I'm sure that we can send the answers out there. From now, I think that's it. We are planning on having another AMA session down the track here. Those dates will be finalized and you'll get notifications of those plenty of time before they actually get done. So on that note, thank you so much for everyone. Thanks for joining us. Glad you're here. Looking forward to showing everyone the open beta and hearing everyone's feedback. Take care.